When you work in a doctor's office during cold season, you're gonna get a cold. And I've got a butte. Hard to tell? That's because I took this. Advil Cold and Sinus. From the makers of Advil. It's tough on colds, like Advil is on pain. Get you through congestion, fever, a bad sore throat. Believe me. I know.
Advil Cold and Sinus. Advanced formula for the cold season.
Ford designed a special truck for night people. So, of course, sports fans wanted one too. Now, Ford introduces its new flare side for yet another side. Don't these people ever rest?
The best ever rest.
With a full-size night, sport, and bold new flare side, Ford takes all kinds in style. More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
It's Red Lobster's lunch special. For a short time, get shrimp and chicken for just $3.99. Golden fried shrimp and grilled chicken breast with salad and baked potato, only $3.99. Now, every day at Red Lobster for lunch.
It's Sears' biggest fitness sale. Walk, jog, or run with this 1 1/4 horsepower Lifestyler treadmill with auto incline and save big. Introductory price, just $499.99. Hurry, offer ends soon at Sears.
I like that he's being secretive. It's certainly quieter.
We got a postcard for Robbie.
Oh, great.
Dad, how can he be an exchange student if we didn't get anyone back? Read the card, Charlie.
Yeah, you ready? Just read the card, Charlie. What'd you say?
Hello from Prague. It's been raining for 3 weeks. I don't understand a word anyone is saying. The family I'm living with smells of cabbage and pork. I met a girl. I love this place.
Yeah, women, cabbage, pork. He's a Davis, all right. Uh-oh.
What?
It's a letter from Cosmo. She said she was gonna go away and think about our relationship. Uh-huh. I see the word commitment, vows.
Yeah, and you could probably see the rest of the words if you opened it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, I gotta be very careful how I handle this, because I like Cosmo. I like her a lot.
Dad, are you going to marry Cosmo?
Stop pressuring me, all right?
Sorry.
What?
So, you gonna be kneeling at the altar? Come on.
Well, one of us will be. Cosmo's decided to go back and take her vows to become a nun.
Oh, my God. I don't mean God, I mean... You know, Dwight, you gotta look at it this way. You went out with her for 6 months. If you wanted to marry her, you would have done it.
Right.
Right.
Well, we're not going to let this destroy us, are we?
Why would this destroy me?
I don't know. I guess if I'd been dating a chick for 6 months and she took a vow of celibacy, I'd have second views about that. Probably have to return to the attic and get out the old Shirley Temple dress.
All right, everybody, let's agree that we won't poke any fun or take any cheap shots, okay? End of matter. Dad, all right?
Got it. Well.
Well, I gotta get to school.
All righty. Whoa, Dwight. Before you leave, there's a letter here for you. Okay, maybe this one is good notice. Dear Dwight, here is a list of 300 other Catholic girls for you to date. Thanks for all your help, the Pope.
In P.S., he writes in Italian. Quacengo guarda si della bella. Grazie. Non ci guardano ni la sera. Fini guarda.
Having an off day?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I'm either striking out constantly or throwing a no-hitter.
Mrs. Averback sent Timmy the Lip down to see you.
Kissing again?
Like a fiend.
I thought my last conversation put an end to that.
You were probably thinking of your last conversation with Cosmo. I'm sorry. I thought this would be a humorous way to let you know that I know.
Send him in.
Jimmy!
Thank you, Mrs. Rush. It is. Mrs., isn't it?
Get in here.
Jimmy, sit down. Now, kissing girls and running away is not acceptable behavior, see? Kissing carries with it responsibility.
Like having to take out the gum first.
Yeah. And, you know, when you kiss a girl, it should mean something, because the point isn't just to get a quick adrenaline rush. No. See, kissing is an expression of caring, of affection, maybe of love, and, well, it implies trust, too, doesn't it, Tim? You know, you meet a girl, you like her, she likes you. Something happens when you look in each other's eyes. You find yourself calling her late at night, revealing more of yourself to her than you've ever revealed to anyone else, including your first wife. You look into the future, and she's right there beside you. And then one day, a letter comes. And...
I'm sorry about Cosmo, Mr. Davis.
Yeah.
None of the boys think it was your fault. The girls figured you messed up somewhere.
Now you can head on back to class now, Timmy.
Being a man's no day at the beach, is it, Mr. Davis?
Dwight, did you read that material I left on your desk last night, or you too busy swinging your butt?
Actually, I did read it. Sit down, Mrs. Yamagami.
So you agreed that we need additional tests to find out what's what with a third grade?
No, Mrs. Yamagami, Elaine. What do you think of me as a man?
It's unconstitutional for you to ask me that question.
I just need to hear someone, a woman,
A person?
whatever. Okay, do you find me attractive? You, in the general sense of you, all women.
All persons? I know why you're asking. Because you lost a nun.
Oh, is there like a news break about this?
I know how you feel. I, too, was in a failed relationship. I left a man, too.
Well, he's okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think he started living with another man named Rudy. But if that's him, you be okay.
White,
Yeah?
remember this morning you told me to cancel your dinner with Howard and Glynis Buckley?
Hmm?
Well, I tried, but they refused. They're coming to your house at 7:30. They said it was urgent. They speak to you in person. They're even pushier than I am. Who are they?
They're this brainy couple that I knew from college. Yeah. I would have lost my baseball scholarship if it hadn't been for them. They tutored me. They took me into their apartment, fed me, bathed me. But that was just once. Howard never knew about that. Well, I'm really sorry that Glynis couldn't make it. What's the matter with her?
Well, as I told you, we're about to leave for South America to live with and study a primitive tribe. And so we've been trying to acclimate ourselves to those jungle living standards. And you know, Glynis, being the more adventurous and carnivorous of us, sent for sloth meat. You know, the animal. But I don't know whether there was something in the shipping or whatever, but I can tell you this, for sloth, it went through her pretty fast.
I'm sorry, people, but I'm going to have to ask for a body search. What I'm asking is for all of you to undress here. Now, if anybody's uncomfortable, know this, I'm going to undress too.
Anything to do with your briefcase. I put the thing in the middle of...
Oh, I know what this is about. It's the blueprints, right? I saw him in there in the kitchen just next to the big chocolate cake that Gwen baked today.
Sorry, people.
So, Howard, what's this important matter you wanted to discuss?
Well, Dwight, do you remember our son, Skinner?
Yeah, I think I met him at your Come As Your Neurosis party.
Oh, I remember that. I didn't come as an agoraphobic.
Well, tell me, did you ever read the book we wrote about our son? It was called Raising Skinner, a psychological study of a child from conception to age 6.
No, but it sounds great.
I brought you a copy.
Oh.
I want you to take it and him.
He wants you to take his son?
Not forever, just for the year we're in South America.
You want me to take your son for a year?
Dwight, there's no one I trust as much as you. And at our age, a year goes by like a month. I mean, I've raised him to be totally independent. You won't even know he's here. He's here!
Rides a motorcycle?
I'm sure if you discussed it with him, he'd be willing to turn off the motor and just coast up the driveway whenever he comes home.
Hey, how are you?
I'm Dwight Davis.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Skinner, you remember Dwight?
Oh, no, Howard, I don't. But, look, I really appreciate you letting me stay here.
Well, it isn't exactly for sure that I am letting you stay here.
Well, I brought everything I own.
Let him stay for the weekend.
Yeah, Dwight, at our age, a weekend goes by like a minute.
It does, it does.
All right, okay, you can stay the weekend.
Terrific! Thank you, Dwight. Okay,
All right.
bye-bye, Skinner.
Bye, Howard. Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom.
Mom there, that's my sister Gwen.
Oh, howdy. Hi. Well, I'm sorry they just sort of dumped me on you, but I'll try not to get in your way, and if you're up when I get in, maybe we can get a little more acquainted, all right?
When you get in? Aren't you already in?
Well, yeah, but I'm going out.
Well, don't you think you ought to talk to me and ask me if you can go out?
Well, if I were to ask you and you were to say no, and then I were to go out, then we'd be getting off to a pretty bad start. So, why don't we just pretend we never met, and I'll look forward to meeting you guys later, all right?
What better way to start
1992 and to tell you about Domino's great new two-pizza deal. It's Domino's double-up deal. 2 medium pizzas each with 1 topping, just $10.99. $10.99?
$10.99.
Domino's makes your pizzas fresh when you call and gets them there in 30 minutes or less. So if you want a lot of great pizza for a little price for you and your whole family, nobody knows like Domino's how you like our double-up deal for just $10.99. How did he do that?
It's wintertime at your Chevy Geo dealer. A great time to get big deals on Chevrolets.
$1,000 cash back.
Hey, that's worth more than my baseball card. During wintertime, you can get cash back or low wintertime financing with no payments for 90 days on Chevy. With deals like these, anybody can be a winner.
Dad, it's Bob Euchre.
Hey, kid, you want an autograph?
No, thanks.
Are you kidding? Sure you can have 2. Great kid. See your Chevy Geo dealer today.
Next time you're dining out, try something startling. Pick up a packet of Equal. You'll be so surprised by the great taste of the one with NutraSweet, you'll want to buy a box of Equal for the next time you're dining in.
You don't have to start off perfect. You just have to start.
Start your new year off on the right foot. Look in your paper's coupon section January 12th for a special offer on Share Fitness, Share's new best-selling fitness video, and get sweet savings on Equal brand sweetener.
Holly meets up with an old pen pal, but how will the Major react?
They were guzzling champagne and talking dirty.
On Major Dad.
Was it good for you?
Next. It was a century-old tradition, but one teacher would change all of that.
Well, is this the dagger I see before me?
I'm hearing rumors, John, about some unorthodox teaching methods.
Presented with 13 minutes of new footage. Robin Williams.
Seize the day.
The network television premiere, Dead Poets Society, tonight at 8.
All of us at CBS would like to say a special thanks to the designated drivers.
You're truly the life of the party.
Happy New Year.
You know, Dwight, it is really time you get over this Cosmo obsession.
I've only had it for a day.
Well, it's kind of a long time.
What are you saying, Gwen?
I'm saying you gotta get up the courage to go out and meet somebody. You could probably meet some girl that's by herself, hasn't had anyone in a long time, sitting alone at the bar. If she's on like her 4th or 5th drink, hit.
I can't do that, Gwen. I'm not a normal man.
Well, I mean, who knows that better than Dad and I? Right there?
I'm a principal. People look to me to maintain a high moral standard, so I just can't be out bird-dogging babes in Pomahac.
So, take the ferry to Seattle tonight and bird dog them there.
I tell you, I think we're definitely talking about a chick for you. There's a wonderful supermarket on the edge of town, right by Lyleville. And, beautiful. It's a big, big one, and extra baskets for everybody. And you can go through these chicks real quick. I mean, sorting them out for...
How do you know it's the right one, though, Dan?
That's interesting. If you see a lady, you know, heavily endowed, beautiful flowing hair, and you see 2 huge bags of kitty litter, walk up to her and... If she doesn't scratch you, whammo!
What do you think? He's kind of a dull sleeper. He doesn't even twitch. Want to poke him? Yeah. Go ahead. Nothing. Want to go through his pockets? Maybe he has gum. Yeah.
Okay, you characters. I don't want anybody to move, you understand? I don't want anybody to move. It goes for you too, Skinner. Takes orders well, doesn't he? I'm missing something, do you understand, that was in Grandpa's briefcase. It's
Well, if it's a big blue piece of paper, I took it.
Is that right? That's all right. Where'd you put it, Vince?
Well, does it matter if it's not as big as it was?
Oh, it doesn't really matter. Of course not. Surely it's only a few...
Uncle Gwen, better not throw that away quite yet. Ben cut up Grandpa's blueprints.
Ben, why, hon?
I have a good reason. I have these scissors, and I wanted to make sure they worked. And as you can see, they did.
That's okay. You're on the 2nd floor, aren't you?
Hey, Mr. Davis. It's been a long time. Yeah, I was in your 6th grade class. Remember me?
Lester? Oh, Lester. Lester, yes. So, how's life been treating you?
Bet you thought I wouldn't amount to anything, huh? Here I am, holding a velvet rope.
Well, it just shows how wrong a guy can be.
So, you out trolling?
No, I'm just... Let me in, Lester.
Well, I don't know. You know, you made me repeat the 6th grade. Maybe it's your turn to show a little patience, huh?
Skinner? Skinner, what are you doing here?
Same thing as you, Dwight. Just seems like I'm having a little more luck. Nikki.
Hi, Dwight.
Hey, don't you lose hope, man. It's early, all right?
It's not that early. And if I'm not mistaken, you got to be 21 to get in this club. So here's an idea. Why don't you go home and come back in 6 years? Lester will let you in. He'll still be here.
Did you ever read that Johns Hopkins study on aging?
Yeah, I'm sure I did, but I forgot what it said.
Well, it said that men peak at 19. So the way I see it, I've got 4 years until I begin that slide.
Skinner. Excuse me, Nikki. Skinner. Now, look, as long as you're staying at my house, you're my responsibility.
Well, now, look, I'm used to being responsible for myself. You see, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't do drugs. I wouldn't do anything to lessen my ability to enjoy life.
Of course not. See, that's the job of a parent.
All right, okay, let's give this family thing a try, all right? You be the dad and tell me to do something, and then we'll see how I react about that.
All right, okay. Skinner, say goodnight to Nikki and go home.
You see, nobody's ever tried to set limits for me, and I believe you're doing it because you care, and it kind of feels all right.
Skinner, my lips are getting dry.
But no, all right.
Skinner, look, you might want to think that answer over.
Look, Mr. Davis, I'm not really your son, so don't feel like you failed as a father, all right? You just failed as some guy.
Hey, Dwight.
Dwight?
How'd it go?
Isn't it time the kids should be in bed?
Uh-oh, hot night in Seattle. You can tuck them in, Dad.
I did it a year ago. Come on.
We'll tuck ourselves in. Can we do that?
Yeah, come on, guys. Good night, buddy.
But I didn't smell any perfume. Yeah, he bombed out.
So, come on, how was the club? Great?
Yeah, I didn't get in.
Come on, you look 21.
Well, later I met a girl and asked her if she wanted to go see a movie, but she said she couldn't leave the ticket booth, so I went in by myself.
You struck out? A Davis? Well, I'm going to bed. And take it personally.
Come on, you didn't meet anybody?
Well, there's this one girl outside the club.
Well?
She is with Skinner. Nikki. Nikki.
You liked her, huh? Skinner was at the club?
Yeah.
Can't believe that kid. He really gets around. You know, he's something. I'll tell you, Dwight, if I were a couple of years younger, I myself...
More like a couple of decades.
Well, you better hurry up and get that. That's probably the girl from the ticket window.
Hello? Howard. Oh, look, Howard, I'm glad you called. I was going to call you in the morning. Yeah, look, I don't think this Skinner thing's going to work out. No. He's not a bad kid. Howard, are those drums? Howard, where are you? Well, look, just tell me where to send Skinner, all right? Hello? Hello? Can you believe these people? Skinner,
Oh, hey, Dwight.
I'm afraid I got some bad news. See, your parents called and they're in the jungle, so it looks like you're going to be staying.
Well, I'm fine with that.
No, I mean it was bad news for me.
Oh, well, if you want, I can leave.
No. I'm sorry. I just had a bad couple of days. You can stay.
Thanks, man. Hey, you know, I've been thinking about this thing with you and that nut.
No, I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, it just seems like she was faced with a choice between you and God, and you're a good guy, but, you know, come on. I mean, you were up against somebody omnipotent.
I never thought of it like that.
Good night.
Hey, Skinner, you're not home early because of something I said, are you?
No, I just got tired. Oh, by the way, Nikki thought you were hot. Yeah.
As though I care.
Night.
Hey, Dad, how late is that supermarket open?
Oh, we're looking at about, 1 o'clock.
We still got 20 minutes, huh?
Well...
You want to get in the car and go for it, huh?
Oh, wait a minute. It's about 18 miles. Let's walk over there, but we'll have to walk briskly.
All right.
It's the Dodge Drive for the Gold sales drive. Now own Shadow America for only $69.84, thanks to
Going to the zoo is one of his favorite things.
Yeah, he likes to hang out in the snake pavilion and flick his tongue at all the girls.
Hey, guys.
Sure. So did you get up early and go someplace, or you just coming in from last night?
Well, whatever you like to believe is fine with me. Either way, the result is I'm here.
You want to go to the zoo with us?
Well, the thought of animals in a confined space kind of makes me uncomfortable.
They're not all in cages, you know. They have some pretty spacious habitats.
Oh, I was thinking about the car ride there. Thanks, but I already have plans. Yeah. Have a good time, guys.
All righty, let's go.
What's in the bag?
It's for the kids. Remember last time? Went to the zoo. We had to carry them all the way back to the car. So I got a bunch of candy bars here. Get them on a sugar rush. Voom, we meet them there.
You ready, Dad?
All ready.
Oh, he's ready.
Well, you know, kids, you're going to see a fantastic zoo today. Of course, when I was your age, it was a discount zoo. I mean, they were used pets. The elephant had only half a trunk, you know. It was like a sock that was sucking up water, you know, out of a pan. And, of course, there was the kangaroo. He had no tail, so they'd lean him against the bars.
It's cold out there, but this winter, the cost of heating is surprisingly low, thanks to cream of wheat. Hot, nutritious cream of wheat can help fuel your family all morning long for as little as 10 cents a serving. So keep down the cost of energy with cream of wheat, also available in instant, and turn up the heat for less.
It's back. The little cold that turns into a miserable cough. This is the cold Triaminic was made for. It stops cold symptoms cold. Treat your child's cold early with a pediatrician's choice, Triaminic. It stops cold symptoms cold.
I'll put you next to Dad.
Now, when life turns up the heat, there's Degree antiperspirant. Because it's body heat activated, Degree turns on extra protection when you really need it. Degree, your body heat turns it on.
Oh, hey, Dwight. Having a little snack?
A minuscule snack. Oh, the boys brought you back something from the zoo.
What is it?
It's a fur ball that a lion coughed up. Ben caught it. He wanted you to have it.
Well, I guess you didn't hit the gift shop.
So, you're back from wherever you were.
Yeah. Well, I better go to bed. I gotta get up early and go out and find a display stand for this little thing.
Skinner, do you like us?
Well, how could I not like people who'd give me a thoughtful gift like this?
When your parents asked me to let you live here, I know you said that you didn't want to get in the way.
Well, am I getting in the way?
No.
Good, then it's working out.
Well, not exactly, see. It bothers me a little that I feel that we have this stranger living in the house.
Who?
You. See, you go out, I don't know where you're going. You breeze in here, I don't know where you've been. And we've never met any of your friends. Do you have friends?
So what you're saying is you want to get to know me better?
Yeah, I think so. And I want you to feel like you're part of the family.
Oh, boy, that's tough.
In what way?
Well, you see, the people responsible for my birth,
Your parents?
Yeah. Well, anyway, see, they felt that the nuclear family was an anachronism. A unit that made sense back when people plowed fields together or huddled in caves together or fought back invading hordes, but technology just changed that, and now we're all just individuals sharing a common living space.
You know, when we were at the zoo today, we saw a buffalo standing over something like what you just said.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't bring that back for me, too.
Skinner, I like you. You know, I'm interested in your life. I guess, want to share some of it. You know, if you wanted to invite somebody over, say, you know, you could. Or if you had a problem, you could feel free to come and talk to me about it.
Well, yeah, you know, there's actually something that's bothered me for quite a long time now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a pretty good problem solver. You might be surprised.
All right, well, here goes. Where was I before I was born? You know, I mean, if there's only a finite amount of matter in the universe, then I must have been someplace. And they say humans have existed for 2 million years. So where was I all that time?
I know this. Just give me a minute.
It's okay. It's a tough one.
No, I don't know where you were before you existed. I don't even know where you were tonight.
I was with a girl.
A girl? Well, why don't you invite her over? We'd like to meet her.
Yeah, all right. I'll ask her.
Good.
And I'll try to make it, too.
All right, you guys, let's be on our best behavior tonight when Skinner brings that girl over. She's gonna be nervous. I remember how nervous I was the first time I met a guy's parents. Bert Sweeney, remember him, Dad?
Oh, but you just put political buttons in his forehead.
That's the guy. God, I got ready for hours before. I put on a bunch of Mom's perfume, and apparently I put on too much because when I got there, I remember Mr. Sweeney asking me to go outside because I was ruining the taste of his food. So there I was, crying my eyes out in the garden, appropriately enough, and Bert comes out to comfort me. He does what every guy does when he comforts a woman. He makes a move. So what does he do? He gets to first base. Start crying a little harder, he gets to second. Sprinklers go on, game's called on account of rain.
Listen, honey, tell me you didn't go all the way.
No, Dad, I didn't, ever. That's why I'm still living at home. But I know you, Dad. You were a player in your day.
Sort of. It's kind of a fun game. It still is, you know. I mean, if you can get to first base, that's what it's all about. I'd get down to first base and hang out there for a little while, you know, and night games especially, they were fun, kind of looking up in that audience, and all around me, you know, and wanted to steal second. Gosh, and I never got my uniform dirty, because I wasn't wearing one.
Oh, they're here. Hey, Skinner.
Oh, hey, guys. Everybody, this is Kathy, the girl I was telling you about.
Hi, Kathy. Skinner's been telling us absolutely nothing about you.
Hi, Kathy. I'm Gwen. This is my brother Dwight, our father Gunny. Hi. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say, my God, you're pregnant. So, Kathy.
Thank you.
How many months pregnant are you?
8.5.
Oh, wow. Skinner, how long have you known Kathy?
Oh, for about 3 months.
Oh.
So, you two are dating?
Yeah. She's beautiful, isn't she?
Yeah. She certainly has a glow about her.
You hear that? Everybody thinks your mom's beautiful.
Skinner, he likes to talk to the baby. Could you please pass the mashed potatoes?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. And actually, the roast beef.
Mm-hmm. And the corn would be wonderful.
I'll get that.
Thank you.
Must be wonderful to be pregnant. Young, pregnant. It's nice. At least you know you've had a date in the last year.
So, here's what I'm wondering. Who's the father?
Oh, honey, have some celery. Big stick.
Okay. We decided not to be together because he doesn't want to be a father right now.
But you want to be a mother.
Yeah, I really do.
Well, that's good, because look at you.
What's up in your mouth? all can get a flashlight. Can we see him wave?
We could try after dinner.
Good, cool.
So are you going to raise this baby all by yourself, Kathy?
I'll probably go live with my parents for a while.
Oh, well, then they're okay with,
Oh, yeah. So far, they've been great. When they found about this, who knows?
They don't know? Well, don't you think at some point they're going to catch on? I mean, we spotted it right away.
Yeah, I'm going to tell them. It's just, you know, they're vegetarians and they have a personal trainer. They totally believe they can stay young forever.
They live in L.A.?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Kathy's afraid that the news that they're going to be grandparents might stop their cholesterol-free hearts. More roast beef?
Thank you, Skinner.
Yeah.
I say that a lot. Thanks, Skinner. He has been so supportive ever since the first day we met at the university library.
Yeah, Kathy was walking down the
And
steps.
he came running up to me. I thought he was going to steal my purse. Then he offered to walk down the stairs in front of me.
In case she fell, you know.
Aw.
Sweet.
No, really. Aw.
More corn? More roast beef? Buns? Here, I've got plenty.
Hi. Hi. Thanks. Skinner, I want to ask you something.
Oh, you want another dessert?
Actually, yes. But, can we get that later?
Oh, yeah.
Will you be my birthing partner?
Oh, well, isn't it too late for that?
No,
Oh, you want me to be there when he comes out?
Right.
Ah, okay.
I've been going to Lamaze classes by myself, and I'd really like it if you could come to them with me and help me through labor.
Well, I've never done that before. But then again, you know, I've never dated a pregnant girl, and so far that's been really great. So, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Yeah.
You're the best.
You hear that? I'm going to be there when you're born.
You already know Mama's breathing.
Oh, really? I thought I was just hyperventilating.
Imprisoned by sinus pain, trapped by sinus pressure, it takes the power of Sanyutab to release the pressure and stop the pain. That's something Sanyutab's done for more people for more years than any other sinus medicine. Sanyutab, relief for prisoners of sinus pain.
Release me and let me live again.
This year in Lake Edna, the best place to watch the big game was Al's Discount TV and Appliance Emporium. Knowing a good deal, Al got some KFC Super Buckets. He got 15-piece buckets, variety buckets with 3 kinds of chicken, and jumbo buckets of 36 hot wings, just $9.99 each. Everyone went home happy, especially Clara Campbell, who bought a juicer at halftime. New KFC Super Buckets, just $9.99. A great deal in Lake Edna or your neck of the woods.
The same bold engineering that made the Mitsubishi Diamante such a successful luxury performance sedan has now taken automotive luxury in an entirely different direction, introducing the all-new Mitsubishi Montero, a luxury automobile whose luxuries include state-of-the-art four-wheel drive. The 1992 Montero by Mitsubishi. The word is getting around.
You know, these kids put in almost a full day of school before lunch, so breakfast has to help keep them going through most of the learning they do all day. How can you give them anything but hot Quaker oatmeal?
Does seem like the right thing to do. It's Sears' biggest fitness sale. Walk, jog, or run with this 1 1/4 horsepower lifestyler treadmill with auto incline and save big. Introductory price, just $499.99. Hurry, offer ends soon at Sears.
Next.
I can't believe I forged a note for my parents.
Some kids think they can get away with anything.
Your mother must have written this note in quite a hurry. She spelled her name wrong.
Brooklyn Bridge, next.
Robin Williams.
Well, is this the dagger I see before me?
A network television premiere with 13 minutes of new footage. Dead Poets Society, Friday at 8.
Want to feel good about yourself? Show your friends you really care about them?
Offer to be a designated driver. You drive and you don't drink. Be a friend for life.
I remember when I asked Mom where babies come from. She took her time and went into this long, ridiculous story. Turned out to be true.
Don't you think it's kind of strange that Skinner's dating a pregnant girl?
Well, it's different, yeah, but I don't know. I think it's kind of sweet what he's doing. Besides, Kathy shouldn't be deprived of having fun just because she had fun.
I just worry about him getting too involved, you know?
Well, Dwight, I don't think you'd feel like a father unless you were worried.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Why don't you relax? Go in the garage and make something out of wood or something.
Oh, boy, it sounds like bachelor father's home.
Well, just take it easy. Don't worry about it.
I'm okay. It's just a little surprise, that's all.
Well, it's Skinner, Dwight. Get used to it.
Hey, guys.
Skinner.
Hey, thanks for dinner. Kathy and I and the unborn really had a great time. I'm glad I listened to you and invited her over.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, I was just meaning to ask you, I think tonight's the last night Kathy's gonna be able to fit in that sidecar, and so I was just wondering if I could borrow your car to take her to the hospital.
You're gonna drive her to the hospital?
Well, yeah, I kinda have to. I'm her birthing partner.
Oh, surprise again.
So now you're her birthing partner?
Yeah, I was confused about that, too. It just means I'm gonna help her deliver her baby.
I know what it means. Do you really think that you're capable of being a labor coach?
Dwight, wait a second. It's not such a big deal. The woman does all the work. Years ago, women used to just go out in the middle of the field, have the kid, and keep picking mangoes or whatever it is.
What the hell are you talking about?
I just think it's nice what Skinner's doing. If I were unwed and pregnant, I would be happy to have you around.
Yeah, it's a nice thing that he's doing, but I just think that the girl needs more than a kid to help deliver the kid. That's all. I mean, look at him. He's only 16.
Well, she's only 19.
Oh, she has to show up. See, you don't. I mean, trust me on this, okay? You're not ready for this. You're not even ready to shave yet. I mean, I've been through this 3 times, Skinner. I'm older than you, and I can tell you it's not an easy experience.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying that maybe Kathy should get somebody else.
Oh, well, thanks, Dwight. Thanks for your concern. I'm really glad I let you into a part of my life. It's really great getting all this disapproval.
Skinner.
No, look, you're not my father, all right?
Yeah, and you're not the baby's father.
All right, well, maybe I wasn't the father at conception, and I'm not going to be the father after he's born, but right now, I'm the father.
Anybody home?
Hi.
Hi.
Come in.
Sounds like you're busy. We just wanted to let you know we're here.
Yeah, we'll be out in the waiting room if you need anything. I might not be available because I'm hoping to meet a doctor or something. You know.
Well, if you guys want, you can stay.
Oh.
Please, you had us for dinner. It's the least we could do.
Well, it's nice of you to invite us to your labor, but...
Do you mind if I turn on the TV?
Oh, no, no, no.
Whoa, Dad, hey, no, the bed. It's right there.
Sorry?
You know, Kathy, you look kind of tired. Why don't you run on down to the cafeteria, get yourself a cup of coffee, and I'll sit in for a while.
You want to have children?
Oh, yeah. If I meet a doctor, I'll start tonight.
You like bass fishing?
It's okay.
How deep do you figure it is here, Bill? About 4 feet. 4 feet? Got some weeds. Yeah.
Dwight, thanks a lot for coming.
Look at the weed. Look at the...
Well, why did you come?
Well, I didn't want you to do this, but since you're doing it, I'm here to support you. It's what families do.
I don't think I understand, but I'll take it.
Skinner, hon? Are you timing the contractions?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Go.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, breathe. Look at your focus point.
We're going to be out here in the hall. Come on, Dad.
Kathy, I know you're going through a lot of stuff, but try to keep an eye on what kind of lure he's using.
Kathy's doing great, huh?
Yeah. Skinner looks a little paler than usual.
Well, the doctor says that she's ready, but no one asked me if I'm ready.
Ready, Skinner?
Oh, yeah, you go ahead, and I'll catch right up with you, all right?
You better get in there, Skinner. You don't want us starting without you.
I can't. I'm only 16 years old.
Skinner, come on, just relax now. You can do this.
No, you said not to do this, and now I realize that you're right.
Skinner, honey, you're going to be fine. Just go on, get in there.
Let's just think a minute, all right? Who else could we get? Dwight, you've done this before, and you're just standing around.
Yeah. I can't do this. No, come on, Skinner. I don't even know the girl's last name.
McCormick. Oh, come on, Dwight. You said to come to you when I have a problem, and I think this is a pretty big problem. Just come on. Be my birthing partner.
Skinner, I can't. I mean, the last 3 times I did this, I passed out. And took a lot of expensive equipment with me.
Whoa. That won't happen this time, because I'll be there to support you, all right?
Come on, Dwight. This is your chance to prove you can do it. And if you can't, just fall away from the equipment.
You know, Skinner, when I asked you to share a part of your life with me, I was thinking more along the lines of how was your day at school? Did you get a haircut? Who are you dating? You see, it's that last one that I shouldn't have bothered with.
Hi. My brother's coat, not my husband's. Not married. Single. Single. Surgeon. Single, surgeon, surgeon. Single, you and me and us. He loves me.
What, you think we should throw this one back?
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. I'll just pull the hook out.
Ew, what, buddy? Well, looks like you got a little too much here in there. Oh.
He's not swimming too fast, is he, Jeff?
No, but he's floating pretty good. Yep.
Was that incredible? Was that incredible or what?
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
Oh, I feel like I want to do it again. You want to see if there's anybody else in labor we can help out?
Maybe after dinner.
You were great.
Oh.
You didn't look like you were anywhere near passing out.
I didn't even sweat. No.
And when you started yelling, go for it during that last push.
And you, my friend, your hands were rock steady cutting that umbilical cord.
Yeah.
Oh, we're great.
We just had a baby.
Who's the father?
We don't know.
Hey, thanks a lot, Dwight. I really mean that.
You could have done it without me.
Well, I don't know, I like knowing I can take care of myself, but it's also good to know that there's somebody else there for me. And if that's a difference a father can make, I really hope Kathy's little girl has one really soon,
Duty calls!
What should we name her?
Oh, I think that's up to you.
No, I want you to help. You help with all the hard stuff, and now you get to help with the fun stuff.
Oh, okay. Now, are we limited to girls' names because she's a girl?
Most people would, but I don't expect you to.
All right, well, how about Triumph?
Triumph. That's really Triumph. Yeah, I like that. Betty Triumph McCormick.
Betty?
Yeah, like Betty and Veronica in the comics. Used to always root for Betty,
Well, look, I'm gonna let you two get some sleep. May this be the first of many, many good nights, Betty Triumph.
Thanks, Skinner. I don't know how I would have done this without you.
I wouldn't have wanted you to. So I guess you're gonna be going back to your parents pretty soon?
Yeah, I guess.
It'd probably be a good idea to call them first.
Yeah, I know. Do you think you could stay while I do that?
Oh, sure, yeah. Sometimes parents will surprise you.
Hi! It's me. Yeah, I'm great. I have some pretty big news. I just had a baby girl. Betty Triumph. You do? She loves the name. She's screaming. She's so happy. Yeah. Now my mom just takes as well as the cleaning lady.
She's really an incredible baby. She had just come out, and she was crying like she had been waiting 9 months to try it, and I just said something to her, and she just stopped. Just like that. Like she recognized my voice, and it just sort of calmed her down.
I remember, you know, it's funny, when I was in my mother's womb, it was a strange thing. It was just me, a solo act. She ate strange things like licorice. Sticks had come down on me, you know. Heavy ragu, you know, and then huge meatballs. You know, regular kids, to my knowledge, are delivered around 9 months. I came out and it was 14 months. There wasn't anybody there.
I'll borrow my mother's earrings, her scarf, but my mother's tampons?
Just still and peaceful. The moon coming up. The lights of the city twinkling on. A distant loon. And a not-so-distant loon.
Stand back, everybody. I'm bringing something out here.
What is it?
This. It's for my science project. It's a telescope. I made it out of paper towel and toilet paper rolls.
Oh, well, let's see that.
You want to take a look?
What a novel idea. Let's see. It does work. My gosh. There's Mr. Simpson and Mrs. Simpson. He's swinging her around. Why, he shouldn't do that. She's 80 years old. Oh, her head flew off. Here.
I don't see anything.
It's probably just the moon and its reflection on the leaves.
I'm going to write a report on the moon. Wow. It's so beautiful. Here, Dad, look.
Huh? Wow.
Pretty good, huh?
Oh, wow.
Hey, you look like you have it aimed at the ferry.
Hey, Charlie. You have a lot of rolling to do. Come on. You've inconvenienced quite a few people, I can tell you that. Let's go. Here we go.
Dad, I think I've just seen the woman I'm gonna marry.
For God's sake, Dwight, that was your sister.
Drixoral is. Sudafed isn't. Drixoral is. Contac isn't. Drixoral is the only 12-hour cold medicine you can buy that was once a prescription and is still available in its original prescription strength. Drixoral.
Two pizzas, two crazy breads, two servings of Coke Classic for $7.98 at Little Caesars. It's a party.
Thanks for joining us. Susan, what's new tonight?
Nothing, honey.
Can't you make up something, darling?
Kellogg's Nut and Honey Crunch is new with a deliciously sweet new recipe.
Anything new?
Nothing, honey.
Anything changed?
Nothing, honey.
Anything different?
Nothing, honey.
See you tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
It's a whole new Nut and Honey Crunch, and you'll love the nutty sweet taste.
He just won't open up. Watch this. What's new, Pete?
Nothing, honey.
Like a brick wall.
New Kellogg's Nut and Honey Crunch.
How can you guys stand to watch football when you already know what's going to happen?
We do?
Sure. You see, it's all just a matter of mathematical probabilities.
Okay, Skinner. If you're so smart, what's gonna happen?
Well, what's the situation?
It's 3rd and 12. Seattle's on their own 20, and they're ahead by 3.
Easy. Draw play up the middle. They'll make 7 yards.
And it's better up the middle for a gain of 6. Make it 7 yards.
And they'll let the clock run out.
There's the gun, and that ends the half. Seattle Seahawks 20 and the Dallas Cowboys 17. We'll be back with
Beer
more
commercial.
right after this. Next time you're looking for a great tasting.
You're spooky, Skinner.
All right, guys, straight from the kitchen, for the first time anywhere, it's Aunt Gwen's original 3-cheese popcorn.
Mmm.
Oh, dear. Oh, one too many cheeses, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Really looks awesome, Aunt Gwen. That's bigger than my head.
All right, come on, put it back in the bowl.
Well, you know, maybe we can bang it on the table till it breaks into chunks.
Oh,
yeah.
geez, that's a good table.
Yeah, that's a good table.
Hey, Dwight, how'd it go on the ferry? Any luck?
No, lots of people, all of them ugly, you know, comparatively.
You men are never satisfied, are you?
Well, I will be when I find this girl.
Maybe you'll never find her, Dad.
Ben, go to your room.
Dwight, didn't
Okay, you can stay, but just don't say that again.
Why do you want to find this girl so bad? Because she's beautiful?
No, Gwen, it's more than that. I mean, I felt something profound.
Profound? You saw her in a crowd on the ferry through a toilet paper tube.
Well, I'm not sure I really know. You know, I just know that when I saw her, I had this strange feeling that she was the one for me, and I'm going to find her.
Dwight, have you seen her legs?
No.
That's important. I'll tell you why. This, of course, is the main course here, but legs are important. I want to tell you, I used to date a girl with kind of unusual legs. They were like this. Many's the time she'd pass the zoo and...
Oh, Dad, how about some popcorn? Made it myself.
You're kidding. How long ago? Looks like it made over a year ago. I don't know why.
I made it this morning.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Oh, look. Come on down to the basement. Andrew is ready for his brain.
Dwight, you know what I think it was, honestly? Love at first sight.
Well, you can be cynical if you want, Gwen, but as far as I'm concerned, this is fate. If I hadn't been out on the porch, if Charlie hadn't made that telescope, if the ferry hadn't been passing by at that exact moment, I might never have seen her. You see?
But, Dad, you haven't seen her before, and you haven't seen her since, so there's not much hope you'll ever see her again.
Okay, Ben, that's twice. Get to your room.
Dad?
You too, Charlie. Go.
You stupid telescope.
Dude, I've heard that people only have 5 chances in a lifetime to meet their soulmate, and, you know, I figure you've blown a few of those already, so I think you should go for this one.
Thanks, Skinner.
That is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life.
Trust me, Skinner, I've seen the most beautiful girl there is, and she's not on television. That's her. This is her. She's a Seattle Seahawks cheerleader.
Well, that leg thing Dad was worried about isn't going to be a problem.
Ben, Charlie, get down here. You're forgiven. Oh, I found her. The whole world is forgiven for everything it's ever done.
Dwight, quit hanging on a TV set like that. By the time you meet her, you'll be sterile.
I've got to get to the game. I've got to get to that game. Oh, but wait a minute. This is nuts. I mean, I don't know anything about her. She doesn't know anything about me.
See, Dwight, that's the best chance love ever has. It's when you find out about each other that it starts to go bad.
Should I go or shouldn't I go? I mean, I never do anything like this. But do I like not doing things like this? Or do I think I should do things like this? I mean, it's all so darn impulsive.
If you're going, you better better leave. It's half over.
You don't have to hurry. It's going to go into overtime.
Okay. I'm going. Oh, is it a home game or do I have to drive to Dallas? It doesn't matter. Yes, Mrs. Rush, what is it?
Brute?
Yeah. I'm expecting somebody for lunch. Somebody I met.
A girl?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, if you're through spraying, Mickey has been sent down to have a little talk with you.
Again? All right, send him in.
Mickey? Break a leg.
Hey, Mr. Davis, how's it going? Is that your nose or are you eating a potato? Oh, I'm kidding. I love you. You know that.
Sit down, Mickey. Don't spin. Let's see what you did. Oh, boy. You got a million of them, don't you? Miss Phelps says that you were making elephant noises while one of your classmates was reading her report on Hannibal.
Well, what kind of noises do you want me to make?
Well, you see, Mickey, that's just the point. We don't want you to make any noises.
Mrs. Phelps doesn't see what an acid I am. I keep things loose. I keep things rolling.
Well, I tell you what, Mickey, I'll make a deal with you. You tone it down in class, and I'll let you open for me at the next assembly.
Wow. The big room. Hey, thanks for the break, Mr. Davis.
Oh, I gotta move that door.
Dwight, look at this lunch menu. It's not a good English, see?
Tuna fish sandwich.
It's redundant. Tuna is a fish. So why say tuna fish? You don't say halibut fish or salmon fish.
We're having tuna fish today? Gee, I was hoping for something a little more panache, you know? Something a little more sloppy Joe-ish.
She's not coming.
Who's not coming?
Erica.
She called? Huh? And you didn't put her through?
I didn't want to interrupt. You were behind closed doors.
Oh, I was with Mickey. What'd she say?
She said she was terribly sorry she can't make it for lunch. Something came up. She tried to call you at home and spoke to your father.
Gunny?
You got it. He invited her to your house for dinner, so she'll see you tonight.
Tonight? Dinner tonight? Yeah, that'll work.
If I'm not mistaken, you seem kind of aroused by this Erica.
Who is she?
Well, she's a very intelligent, down-to-earth, attractive Seattle Seahawks cheerleader.
Where did you bump into her? At the Ingman Bergman Festival?
No, I met her at the football stadium.
Yeah, that's where they tend to keep them.
You know, it's quite a story. Well, come on in. It's quite a story how I found her. I saw her on the ferry, but I just caught a glimpse of her. And then I saw her again on the television on Sunday's game. So I rushed down to the stadium, and I paid a scalper $100 for a front row seat. I was killing myself, you know, trying to come up with a smooth opening line, you know, that I could shout at her when fate stepped in. This kid in the mezzanine, he lets go a huge barrage of mustard packets, and one of them hits Erica right on her bare back. Well, she turned around, and I smiled and waved, and she called security to have me thrown out. But fortunately, the section I was in, they vouched for me, and she felt so bad that she did agree to have lunch with me, and then she called and canceled.
Yeah, we know. She's coming to your house for dinner tonight.
Yeah, that's right, and this is the date that's going to decide if there's going to be other dates. And I'm going to be on it with my family.
Be ready to fall for common cheerleader.
I was a cheerleader.
Me too.
On January 12th, a farmer
truck off the road, through a field, and into a Pepsi billboard, changing the course of cola history forever. To find out how, watch The Big Game on January 26th.
My first day of teaching, and I'm out of antiperspirant. So I used my husband's Suave antiperspirant. Well, there were 32 of them and only one of me. But I didn't sweat it. Suave kept me cool and dry. And when I found out it's less expensive, I switched. I guess you're never too old to learn a new way to save money.
Suave antiperspirant. So effective you won't believe the price.
Now for men, Suave Super Stick Deodorant. Powerful protection without the pumped-up price.
As a registered dietitian, I bet you don't get enough fiber every day. I also bet you think high-fiber cereals don't taste good. Well, here's one that does. Fruit and Fiber. It's the only high-fiber cereal with this delicious combination of crispy bran flakes, fruit, nuts, and crunchy oat clusters. Try Fruit and Fiber, and I bet you'll be eating more fiber and liking it.
Post Fruit and Fiber cereal, the great-tasting way to get high fiber every day.
Mom sent pictures. You're as big as a house.
Oh, you should see me.
Moments like this were made for Gold MasterCard. With the added credit you've earned.
That's a long way to Amaru. And you'll need the map.
Plus, no card is more welcomed, at home or abroad. Not American Express, not even Visa.
Oh, Lori, I can't believe it. How in the world?
Gold MasterCard, the best gold card to master the moment.
Next, Golden Globe winner, Best Comedy.
Benny still thinks he's in love with Katie. The girl I love. The girl I'm gonna marry.
Oh, no.
An all-new Brooklyn Bridge. Next.
On a vacation in Paris, his wife mysteriously disappears. A nightmare only one woman can end.
Where's my wife?
Harrison Ford, Friday, Saturday.
Keep smoking crack, and eventually you'll be left with nothing.
Hey, Ben, Charlie, your father says it's time to come in and get ready. What are you guys doing out there?
We're getting messed up for this girl, Erica. Yeah, we think she's young.
Well, wait a minute. Did you see her on TV?
Yeah?
Well, then you have a very strange sense of yuck.
Dad really seems to like her, and he hardly knows her. If he likes her too much, she could become her stepmother. Do you know what they're like, Skinner?
No, not really.
We'll read Cinderella, Hansel and Gretel, the Three Little Pigs.
Oh, wait a minute. There's no stepmother in the Three Little Pigs. There's a wolf.
Same thing. They're all evil.
You guys, these are all just characters in delightful children's books.
How about The Witch of Elm Street?
Oh, I don't know that story.
That's what Tony Sales calls his stepmother. Or at least he did until she shipped him off to boarding school.
Oh, come on. You guys don't have to worry about that. I mean, your father loves you, and he wants you near him. And besides, I know for a fact that your father does not have the money to send you to a boarding school.
Yay! We're poor!
Let's get inside.
Wow, it's been a long time since I've seen your Little League trophy.
Well, the mantle was looking a little empty.
You know, she might have more of a chance of seeing it if you put it on the coffee T-A-B-L-E. Table ready? Okay.
Yeah, you know, come to think of it, the coffee table does look a little empty too, doesn't it? Oh, what am I doing, trying to impress her with a Little League trophy? Don't I have any other trophies?
Dwight, you don't need things like this to impress a beautiful woman.
No?
No, just be yourself. Be kind and courteous, and then after dinner, just wait for that right moment and casually start to floss your teeth with a $1,000 bill.
You're so wrong, Gwen. She likes that I'm just a regular guy, you know, and not some flashy high roller. Hey, Gunny, how are those lobsters coming in there?
Oh, I must say they are piping hot. I hope it sets the tone for the entire evening.
All right, get back in the kitchen. So I'm a regular guy who likes an occasional lobster, huh?
What are you so nervous about, Dwight?
You know, just jittery, you know, first date jitters. You know, I think this girl, you know, she could be the one, and I want to make a good impression.
Hey, Gwen, Ben has pine sap in his hair, and Charlie wants to use your epilated to get it out.
Oh, yeah, epilated.
So, Dwight, when's dinner?
Oh, what are you having dinner at home tonight? Why? Because we're having lobster?
No, I'm just here for the corn on the cob and the beautiful cheerleader babe.
Let me tell you something, Skinner. If you are going to stay, just remember that Erica is my date.
Yeah, well, if nothing else, I mean, she's got to admire your guts, Dwight.
Oh? Why?
Well, you know, because most guys on the first date would try to show a woman their best side, but you, I mean, you're showing her everything. From what you're going to look like when you're Gunny's age, to your taste or lack of it in furniture, down to the smallest thing, like this little trophy the kids left out.
That's mine.
Oh. Most valuable player, 1966. You were winning trophies before she was even born. She's here.
Oh, she's here.
Oh, she's here.
Dad, take that camera from around your neck and put it away. Okay, now look, I want everyone just to calm down, okay? I'm gonna open this door, but calm down.
We'll let her in before she sees the lawn furniture. Come on.
All right, I will. But before I do, I want to just say one thing, okay? Please don't blow this for me.
No, we won't.
Okay.
There's no
There's a storm front coming through. Get her.
Erica. Hi, Erica. Good evening, Erica. I couldn't decide, so I just used all three.
Hello, Dwight. Hi.
Oh. Erica, this is my dad. This is Gunny Davis. And this is Skinner.
It's nice to meet you.
Me, you know. And this is my sister Gwen.
Big H, little I.
Hi.
Let me take this for you. Yeah, come on in and sit down.
Dad, are you crying?
I'm just so happy. Erica, I hate to bother you. Could I have a picture of you, please?
Well,
Here we go. Say whatever you want to.
Hi.
They go to me, Grandpa.
Oh, is that?
They go to me.
Oh, surely. Okay, Ben, give us a big, say cheese.
Cheese.
Doggy, kitty.
Doggy,
1, 2, 3.
Dad, you take one more picture, you're gonna have to leave the table.
Sorry, just something you gave me for Christmas, man. I want to use it.
So, does anybody have an opinion on what the Russians might do next?
Yeah, more importantly, is that a bustier right there?
Yes, it is.
Oh, good.
So much for world events.
So, what grade are you fellas in?
Second, fifth, and our dad never wants to get married again. I'm not going to any boarding school either. Can't afford it.
We're not that poor.
No, Dwight has plenty of money. Despite what you may have thought of some of the furniture, it's more of a matter of taste than finances.
Thanks, Skinner. It's a nice save.
Yeah.
Erica, I was just wondering, and when you go home to your apartment or house, would you be, would you lie down in a plaster of Paris and kind of make a mold? Maybe send it to me. I'll handle all the plaster of Paris and the shipping and everything.
Dad! She's not gonna send any plaster impressions, okay?
Okay, I'm just making conversation.
You know, Gwen, I think it's really interesting that you mentioned the Russians. You know, I traveled in the Soviet Union last summer, and the people there, they seem fearful yet optimistic.
Oh, kind of like Dwight here, huh?
What's for dessert?
I don't know, but whatever it is, why don't you all have it in your rooms? Huh?
You know what? I really can't stay for dessert.
Huh?
Listen, how about some cappuccino? I'll go downtown and get a machine.
coffee keeps me awake, and I really have to get up early. I don't want to miss the last ferry off the island.
Sure, I understand.
You blew it, Dwight.
It was really great meeting you all, and thanks for dinner.
Well, it was nice meeting you, Erica. You were very brave to have come.
I'll walk you out.
Come downstairs.
Okay. Good night, Dwight.
Oh, Erica,
What?
would you do me a favor? When you tell people about tonight, don't use real names, okay?
Dwight, it was fine.
No, then why are you leaving?
Because I really have to get up early tomorrow.
You really do?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very memorable first date. Most guys do anything they can to impress you on the first date. You didn't even try to impress me at all.
Well, it's good to know that I succeeded. So you didn't mind all the picture taking?
Oh, no, I got a little tan from the flash. I was flattered. I like your family.
Yeah? Does that include me?
You were the tall, quiet one, right? Didn't really get to know you that well.
Would you like to?
I think so.
So you'd go out with me? You know, just alone, the two of us?
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah? Now we could.
I really, really have to get up early tomorrow.
I was only half kidding. How about tomorrow night? Are you free? He asked hopefully.
Yeah, I think I'm free.
Yeah? Great. While I'm on a streak here, could I kiss you goodnight?
I don't think anyone's asked me that since high school.
I kind of feel like I'm in high school a little bit. Thank you. You drive very safely.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, I can tell by the look on your face that she hasn't dumped you yet.
No, I'm seeing her tomorrow night.
Yeah. I want you to see the picture of the happiest guy in the world. Okay?
Concentrate, Lisa. What are you thinking about?
I don't think we can afford it. I don't know what else to say.
Is there something going on that I should know about?
You gotta come home.
Our best athletes still need financial help. That's why Minute Maid will continue to make a contribution to the U.S. Olympic Hopeful Fund.
You're looking at a live picture from the Chamber of the House of Representatives. Gary Hummel, not a very orderly place.
No, it's a very human institution. That's the first thing you have to learn. You know, one time Alexander Hamilton brought a British visitor in the gallery. And the British visitor looked down and said, "My God, what is going on down there?" And Alexander Hamilton said, "Here, sir, the people govern." And that's what you have, the people's representatives. You also have a lot of old friends. 1/3 of the Senate served in the House. So they're seeing their old buddies from the House. And they've also been on a lengthy recess and they haven't seen each other in a while. So they're renewing acquaintances and asking how the families are and catching up on a lot of the very human things that happen. There you see the Senate leadership sitting on the front row and the cabinet seats right in front of them because the cabinet hasn't arrived yet. Senate's still coming in. That's Congressman, well, that's Frank Guarini on the left who just shook hands. That's Congressman Bill Hughes in the upper left-hand corner. That's Mrs. Kasbaum, the senator.
Now, the the cabinet seats are reserved. The cabinet is expected to be there at full force, except for one member.
Yeah, as I said, they always leave one member out just in case. And I think you might see, and it's usually the rookie that doesn't come, and I think that you might not see Secretary of Agriculture Ed Madigan, who was a member of the House for many years. I remember, I think it was last year, Derwinski was the chairman of the cabinet member for veterans. And he said, oh, I was a proud Polish boy and I was going to go see my president in his first State of the Union. And he got a call and they said, you're not going. So he ate a pizza pie, I think, with a security guard in the cafeteria of the Veterans Administration.
And watched the speech on TV.
And he watched it on TV.
Well, he was 15 heartbeats away after all.
Right.
In fact, let's clarify that for people. It's because of the order of succession in line to the presidency that all the officials can't be in the chamber at one time, right?
That's right.
Yes, as Gary explained earlier, it's really a common sense precaution.
Kind of a fail-safe.
As members of the committee on the part of the House to escort the President of the United States into the chamber, the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Gephardt, the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Bonnier, the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Hoyer, the gentleman from California, Mr. Fazio, the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Brooks, the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Michael, the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Gingrich, the gentleman from California, Mr. Lewis, the gentleman from Oklahoma, Mr. Edwards, and the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Archer.
The President of the Senate, at the direction of that body, appoints the following senators as a committee on the part of the Senate to escort the President of the United States into the House chamber. The Senator from Maine, Mr. Mitchell, the Senator from Kentucky, Mr. Ford, the Senator from Arkansas, Mr. Pryor, the Senator from Illinois, Mr. Dixon, the Senator from Virginia, Mr. Robb, the Senator from Georgia, Mr. Fowler, the Senator from South Dakota, Mr. Daschle, the Senator from Kansas, Mr. Dole, the Senator from Wyoming, Mr. Simpson, the Senator from Mississippi, Mr. Cochran, the Senator from Oklahoma, Mr. Nichols, the Senator from Wisconsin, Mr. Caston, the Senator from Texas, Mr. Graham, the Senator from South Carolina, Mr. Thurman.
Will the members of the escort committee please exit the chamber through the lobby doors?
We're back with Gary Humel, who's going to explain exactly what just happened.
Well, the Speaker and then the Vice President Quayle each appointed the leadership of their particular bodies, House Republicans and Senate, to a committee to go get the Speaker, get the President out of the Speaker's office, where he is right now. Except that there were two people there that aren't in the leadership, and that's Jack Brooks and Bill Archer. They're both Texans. And so there's something that Speaker O'Neill started. When Jimmy Carter was president, he appointed the entire Georgia delegation to this committee as kind of an honor. And so Speaker Foley has appointed the ranking Texan, who's Jack Brooks, and the ranking Republican Texan, who's Bill Archer, to be part of the committee.
Back to the floor, where now the members of the diplomatic corps are entering the chamber.
As I said, there are 141 of those, and they're going to get seats on the House floor. The man on the far right is Ambassador Al-Sabah from Kuwait, who's the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps. And if you recall, I think it was last year at this, a lot of attention was on him because the war had started, and we were bombing at this point in the Gulf War last year. He's now the Dean.
What is typically the procedure with regard to the diplomatic corps? Are invitations actually extended, or are you allowed to come no matter what the circumstances of your relationship with the
every
US?
country that's represented in America that has diplomatic credentials is the ambassador is invited. If he can't make it, he sends a representative from his embassy. So everybody gets to come.
Again, we are here with you live this evening. It's about 10 minutes before the hour of 9 o'clock here on the East Coast. At 9:02 Eastern Time, President George Bush scheduled to deliver his third State of the Union address. and C-SPAN will be providing live coverage of that address. And immediately following, we continue our coverage from Capitol Hill with the Democratic response delivered by House Speaker Tom Foley. And then time for you to participate. Our phone lines will be open shortly after that to get your comments from around the country. Wish you were up on the Hill this evening. You missed being there?
I'm happy right here. We have a good seat, and I think that really we're in the right seat to judge the effectiveness of the speech, which is another way of saying that, like all of American politics for the last decade or more, this speech this evening is constructed first and foremost for television. From the teleprompters Gary talked about, to the lighting decisions, to the props which are sometimes involved, to the even the coaching of the audience, that is the members. The real audience tonight is us and the C-SPAN viewers and the others, 60-odd other million Americans who will see it in this format, as opposed to that few hundred who will enjoy a special experience, but in a way, really an artificial experience by being in the room.
Do the political parties have any role to play in the crafting of the speech or in the crafting of the response?
Well, I'll let Gary speak to the response, which is a purely political document. I think that the party of the incumbent would like to have a lot to do with the speech, but is only one contestant in the tussle that I described earlier, along with every cabinet department, various corners of the White House, and half the president's family, all of whom think they have the idea which will enliven the speech and make it memorable, as almost no State of the Union has been. So out of that, the free-for-all can come a real mess, can come a laundry list, can come a very pedestrian effort on many occasions.
Let's go back to the House chamber once again. Mitch Daniels, we just saw Mrs. Bush enter the chamber. You saw another familiar face alongside her.
My eyes don't deceive me. Reverend Billy Graham is a guest tonight. It's customary to invite a guest, several guests, to the First Lady's box, and customary that at least some of those guests be identifiable, sometimes symbolic figures. I mentioned earlier before the occasional use in President Reagan's day of American heroes or average Americans who had done something noteworthy. For example, the immortal Lenny Skutnik, who 10 years ago, I guess this year, saved survivors from the plane crash here in Washington. One thing not in any doubt, I suppose, about the evening is that Mrs. Bush will receive a tremendously warm welcome and be her usual gracious self. She is, I think, endeared herself to all Americans, and whatever the partisan nature of the evening, I think that she'll enjoy a sincere ovation.
Gary Hummel, we were talking about who can sit where in the chamber earlier. Yes. The Bush family is really quite large. Any limitations on the number of people that could be accommodated?
Well, I guess there are about maybe 30 or 40 seats in that executive gallery, so I don't think there's really any problem. A lot of cabinet-wise sit there also, so I don't think there'd be a problem with that.
If there were 10,000 seats in there, there'd be a problem.
Because of the desire to be there.
Sure.
You know, one thing I think is interesting, when we're waiting for the Supreme Court, then the cabinet, and then we can get started. But the Supreme Court will come in and they won't clap during the speech. It's an interesting part about our tripartite government we learned about in the 8th grade. We have 3 separate branches, the legislative, judicial, and executive. So they'll come in and they'll listen, but they don't want to seem like they're applauding the speech, because the president may be proposing some law that they're going to have to rule on later on, and that would seem like they were taking a side. So they come and very respectfully listen, but keep their emotions to themselves.
You mentioned applause. Now, people will see quite a ritual with applause at the beginning of this one. So.
Yes, quite frankly, what happens? Well, as any speaker knows, anybody can make a speech and have pause to elicit applause. There's no question you can milk a speech, and nobody can do it better than LBJ. And he would have White House people spotted around the floor, too, to sort of lead the cheers and lead the applause. And you'll see the Republicans, you know, the president's supporters will be ready to interrupt his speech with applause.
It's the only night I know, though, where you get 2 or 3 free standing ovations. Good speech, bad speech, right. No speech. You get 2 or 3 freebies right off the bat.
I got to tell you, Mitch, I was talking to Dave Obey today, a very thoughtful congressman, but very a strong Democrat and liberal from Wisconsin. And Dave said, I never heard a bad State of the Union. And I think he's right, because it is a real pep talk, and nobody is going to miss that opportunity.
After the speech is over, and you will not be with us any longer by that point, but we will have cameras in Statuary Hall, a lot of members of the press corps, a lot of members of the Congress talking to the press. What is that whole process all about?
Well, that's, the press, of course, likes the conflict, and our adversarial form of government is the president proposes and the Congress disposes. So the president's going to propose a lot of things tonight. And the press is wanting the reaction to find out how the Congress is going to dispose of all of his the items that he's going to list. And the press is looking for a disruption of the status quo, which is the definition of news. And so they got to see how much disruption of that status quo that they can elicit. And the congressmen will be listening and thinking about sound bites to get themselves on television also, no doubt about that.
In your 16 years on Capitol Hill, could you trace the interest level in the State of the Union?
I think, of course, when there were Democrats in the House, in the White House, to me there was a lot more interest from our side. Of course, it was more support of the president, and the Republicans would look to be the critics. But we had very effective presidents. You know, President Johnson, he just steamrolled everybody, and there wasn't much controversy until much later in his term. The Democrats' enthusiasm is waning with all the Republicans in the White House. I'm afraid that's you know, the viewpoint from which I see it.
Well, I would only qualify that by going back once again to the point that this is an election year. I think the most exciting, important States of the Union's speeches would be those delivered as sort of the starting bell in a presidential campaign. In '76, President Ford clearly in trouble. 1980, Jimmy Carter the same. '84, Ronald Reagan apparently so. You know, many people worrying over President Bush's current job ratings forget that they're almost identical to those Ronald Reagan had at this point in at the end of his first term, on his way to a landslide victory.
Let's take a look now. It's about 1.5 minutes before the hour of 9 o'clock. Let's go back to the House floor and see what's happening there for just a minute if we can.
Mr. Speaker, the Chief Justice and the Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court.
We just saw the Supreme Court as welcomed by Jim Malloy. Jim Malloy is
He announced them. And then they marched in. And you saw Clarence Thomas, by the way. I think he's been on television before. It's his first. And you saw Connie Morello, the congressman congresswoman from Montgomery County, which is right against Washington, greeting them all in the front there.
Everyone in place now except for the cabinet. Is that right?
That's right.
Mr. Speaker, the President's cabinet.
Gary Hamel, let's see if you can spot who's not there. Are that good?
Well, as I said, my information is it's going to be Madigan, who's the Agriculture Secretary.
You can point out some of the
That's
folks.
Louis Sullivan, who just walked in, Secretary of HHS.
The woman in red that we saw, former Congresswoman Lynn Martin.
That's right, Secretary of Labor. Very familiar person there.
One of at least 5 former House members, right, Gary?
That's right.
Who are now in the President's
There's
cabinet.
my friend Dowinski, by the way, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs,
The gentleman in the blue suit with the black glasses.
on the right, a longtime House member. There are also some high administrative officers who coming in, like Brent Scrowcroft, the National Security Advisor, the Chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, the Head of Environmental Quality, and the Drug Czar, and the Director of the CIA. That's who those people trailing are.
They're scheduled to begin at 9:02. Looks like they're going to be a little late tonight.
Well, the Super Bowl kicked off late, too, so these things can't be run perfectly on time.
What individual is responsible, or individuals are responsible for making sure this whole thing runs on time?
Well, the Sergeant at Arms has the security, and the doorkeeper leads them in. Those are the two main ones.
At this point,
And here comes the President of the United States.
at this point, I think we will thank our two guests, Gary Hamel and Mitch Daniels, for being with us as we proceed with C-SPAN's coverage of the State of the Union address.
Members of the Congress, I have the high privilege and the distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, distinguished members of Congress, honored guests and fellow citizens, thank you very much for that warm reception. You know, with the big build-up this address has had, I want to make sure it'd be a big hit, but I couldn't convince Barbara to deliver it for me. I see the Speaker and the Vice President are laughing. They saw what I did in Japan, and they're just happy they're sitting behind me. I mean to speak tonight of big things, of big changes and the promises they hold, and of some big problems, and how together we can solve them and move our country forward as the undisputed leader of the age. And we gather tonight at a dramatic and deeply promising time in our history and in the history of man on earth. For in the past 12 months, the world has known changes of almost biblical proportions. And even now, months after the failed coup that doomed a failed system, I'm not sure we've absorbed the full impact, the full import of what happened. But communism died this year. And even as president with the most fascinating possible vantage point, there were times when I was so busy managing progress and helping lead change that I didn't always show the joy that was in my heart. But the biggest thing that has happened in the world, in my life, in our lives, is this. By the grace of God, America won the Cold War. I mean to speak this evening of the changes that can take place in our country now that we can stop making the sacrifices we had to make when we had an avowed enemy that was a superpower. And now we can look homeward even more and move to set right what needs to be set right. And I will speak of those things, but let me tell you something I've been thinking these past few months. It's a kind of roll call of honor. For the Cold War didn't end, it was won. And I think of those who won it in places like Korea and Vietnam, and some of them didn't come back. And back then they were heroes, but this year they were victors. And
The long roll call, all the GI Joes and Janes, all the ones who fought faithfully for freedom, who hit the ground and sucked the dust and knew their share of horror. This may seem frivolous, and I don't mean it so, but it's moving to me how the world saw them. The world saw not only their special valor, but their special style, their rambunctious, optimistic bravery, their do-or-die unity unhampered by class or race or region. What a group we've put forth for generations now. From the ones who wrote "Kilroy was here" on the walls of the German stalags, to those who left signs in the Iraqi desert that said, "I saw Elvis." What a group of kids we've sent out into the world. And there's another to be singled out, though it may seem inelegant, and I mean a mass of people called the American taxpayer. No one ever thinks to thank the people who pay a country's bill or an alliance's bill. But for half a century now, the American people have shouldered the burden and paid taxes that were higher than they would have been to support a defense that was bigger than it would have been if imperial communism had never existed. But it did. Doesn't anymore. And here's a fact I wouldn't mind the world acknowledging. The American taxpayer bore the brunt of the burden and deserves a hunk of the glory. And so now for the first time in 35 years, our strategic bombers stand down. No longer are they on round-the-clock alert. Tomorrow, our children will go to school and study history and how plants grow. And they won't have, as my children did, air raid drills in which they crawl under their desks and cover their heads in case of nuclear war. My grandchildren don't have to do that and won't have the bad dreams children had once in decades past. They're still threats, but the long, drawn-out dread is over. A year ago tonight, I spoke to you at a moment of high peril. American forces had just unleashed Operation Desert Storm, and after 40 days in the desert skies and 4 days on the ground, the men and women of America's armed forces and our allies accomplished the goals that I declared and that you endorsed. We liberated Kuwait. And soon after, the Arab world and Israel sat down to talk seriously and comprehensively about peace and historic first. And soon after that, at Christmas, the last American hostages came home. Our policies were vindicated. Much good can come from the prudent use of power, and much good can come of this. A world once divided into two armed camps now recognizes one sole and preeminent power, the United States of America.
Philips, safe, effective relief without harsh stimulants.
If you're a diabetic, I'm going to share a big secret with you. I found a way that you may be able to get your supplies at no cost.
For the world trusts us with power. And restrained. They trust us to be on the side of decency. They trust us to do what's right. And I use those words advisedly. A few days after the war began, I received a telegram from Joanne Spiker, the wife of the first pilot killed in the Gulf, Lieutenant Commander Scott Spiker.
Scotty already has plans.
You don't know that, Trish.
She wanted me to know that someday, when her children were old enough, that their father went away to war because it was the right thing to do. And she said it all. It was the right thing to do. And we did it together. There were honest differences right here in this chamber. But when the war began, you put partisanship aside and we supported our troops. And this is still a time for pride, but this is no time to boast. For problems face us, and we must stand together once again and solve them and not let our country down. Two years ago, I began planning cuts in military spending that reflected the changes of the new era. But now, this year, with imperial communism gone, that process can be accelerated. Tonight, I can tell you of dramatic changes in our strategic nuclear force. These are actions we are taking on our own because they are the right thing to do. After completing 20 planes, for which we have begun procurement, we will shut down further production of the B-2 bomber. We will cancel the small ICBM program. We will cease production of new warheads for our sea-based ballistic missiles. We will stop all new production of the Peacekeeper missile, and we will not purchase any more advanced cruise missiles. This weekend, I will meet at Camp David with Boris Yeltsin of the Russian Federation. I've informed President Yeltsin that if the Commonwealth, the former Soviet Union, will eliminate all land-based multiple warhead ballistic missiles, I will do the following. We will eliminate all Peacekeeper missiles. We will reduce the number of warheads on Minuteman missiles to 1 and reduce the number of warheads on our sea-based missiles by about 1/3, and we will convert a substantial portion of our strategic bombers to primarily conventional use. President Yeltsin's early response has been very positive, and I expect our talks at Camp David to be fruitful. I want you to know that for half a century, American presidents have longed to make such decisions and say such words, but even in the midst of celebration, we must keep caution as a friend. For the world is still a dangerous place. Only the dead have seen the end of conflict. And though yesterday's challenges are behind us, tomorrow's are being born. The Secretary of Defense recommended these cuts after consultation with the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I make them with confidence. But do not misunderstand me. The reductions I have approved will save us an additional $50 billion over the next 5 years. By 1997, we will have cut defense by 30% since I took office. These cuts are deep, and you must know my resolve. This deep and no deeper. To do less would be insensible to progress, but to do more would be ignorant of history. We must not go back to the days of the hollow army. We cannot repeat the mistakes made twice in this century when armistice was followed by recklessness and defense was purged as if the world were permanently safe. I remind you this evening that I have asked for your support in funding a program to protect our country from limited nuclear missile attack. We must have this protection because too many people in too many countries have access to nuclear arms, and I urge you again to pass the Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI. There are those who say that now we can turn away from the world, that we have no special role, no special place. But we are the United States of America, the leader of the West that has become the leader of the world. And as long as I am president, I will continue to lead in support of freedom everywhere, not out of arrogance, not out of altruism, but for the safety and security of our children. This is a fact. Strength in the pursuit of peace is no vice. Isolationism in the pursuit of security is no virtue. And now to our troubles at home. They're not all economic. The primary problem is our economy. And there's some good signs. Inflation, that thief, is down, and interest rates are down. But unemployment is too high. Some industries are in trouble, and growth is not what it should be. And let me tell you right from the start, and right from the heart, I know we're in hard times, but I know something else. This will not stand. In this chamber, we can bring the same courage and sense of common purpose to the economy that we brought to Desert Storm. And we can defeat hard times together. I believe you'll help. One reason is that you're patriots and you want the best for your country. And I believe that in your hearts you want to put partisanship aside and get the job done because it's the right thing to do. The power of America rests in a stirring but simple idea that people will do great things if only you set them free. Well, we're going to set the economy free. For if this age of miracles and wonders has taught us anything, it's that if we can change the world, we can change America. We must encourage investment. We must make it easier for people to invest money and create new products, new industries, and new jobs. And we must clear away the obstacles to growth, high taxes, high regulation, red tape, and yes, wasteful government spending. None of this will happen with the snap of the fingers, but it will happen. And the test of a plan isn't whether it's called new or dazzling. The American people aren't impressed by gimmicks. They're smarter on this score than all of us in this room. The only test of a plan is it sound and will it work? We must have a short-term plan to address our immediate needs and heat up the economy. And then we need a longer-term plan to keep combustion going and to guarantee our place in the world economy. There are certain things that a president can do without Congress, and I'm going to do them. I have this evening asked major cabinet departments and federal agencies to institute a 90-day moratorium on any new federal regulations that could hinder growth. In those 90 days, major departments and agencies will carry out a top-to-bottom review of all regulations, old and new, to stop the ones that will hurt growth and speed up those that will help growth. Further, for the untold number of hard-working, responsible American workers and businessmen and women who've been forced to go without needed bank loans, the banking credit crunch must end. And I won't neglect my responsibility for sound regulations that serve the public good, but regulatory overkill must be stopped. And I've instructed our government regulators to stop it. I have directed cabinet departments and federal agencies to speed up pro-growth expenditures as quickly as possible. This should put an extra $10 billion into the economy in the next 6 months. And our new transportation bill provides more than $150 billion for construction and maintenance projects that are vital to our growth and well-being. And that means jobs building roads, jobs building bridges, and jobs building railways. And I have this evening directed the Secretary of the Treasury to change the federal tax withholding tables. With this change, millions of Americans from whom the government withholds more than necessary can now choose to have the government withhold less from their paychecks. Something tells me a number of taxpayers may take us up on this one. This initiative could return about $25 billion back into our economy over the next 12 months. Money people can use to help pay for clothing, college, or to get a new car. And finally, working with the Federal Reserve, we will continue to support monetary policy that keeps both interest rates and inflation down. Now, these are the things I can do. And now, members of Congress, let me tell you what you can do for your country. You must pass the other elements of my plan to meet our economic needs. Everyone knows that investment spurs recovery, and I am proposing this evening a change in the alternative minimum tax and the creation of a new 15% investment tax allowance. This will encourage businesses to accelerate investment and bring people back to work. Real estate has led our economy out of almost all the tough times we've ever had. Once building starts, carpenters and plumbers work, people buy homes and take out mortgages. My plan would modify the passive loss rule for active real estate developers and it would make it easier for pension plans to purchase real estate. For those Americans who dream of buying a first home, but who can't quite afford it, my plan would allow first-time home buyers to withdraw savings from IRAs without penalty and provide a $5,000 tax credit for the first purchase of that home. And finally, my immediate plan calls on Congress to give crucial help to people who own a home, to everyone who has a business or a farm or a single investment. This time, at this hour, I cannot take no for an answer. You must cut the capital gains tax on the people of our country. Never has an issue been more demagogued by its opponents. But the demagogues are wrong. They are wrong, and they know it. 60% of the people who benefit from lower capital gains have incomes under $50,000. A cut in the capital gains tax increases jobs and helps just about everyone in our country. And so I'm asking you to cut the capital gains tax to a maximum of 15.4%. And I'll tell you, those of you who say, oh no, someone who's comfortable may benefit from that, you kind of remind me of the old definition of the Puritan who couldn't sleep at night, worrying that somehow, someone, somewhere, was out having a good time. The opponents of this measure and those who have authored various so-called soak-the-rich bills that are floating around this chamber should be reminded of something. When they aim at the big guy, they usually hit the little guy. And maybe it's time that stopped. This, then, is my short-term plan. Your part, members of Congress, requires enactment of these common-sense proposals that will have a strong effect on the economy without breaking the budget agreement and without raising tax rates. And while my plan is being passed and kicking in, we've got to care for those in trouble today. I've provided for up to $4.4 billion in my budget to extend federal unemployment benefits, and I ask for congressional action right away. And I thank the committee. Well, at last. And let's be frank. Let's be frank. Let me level with you. I know, and you know, that my plan is unveiled in a political season. And I know, and you know, that everything I propose will be viewed by some in merely partisan terms. But I ask you to know what is in my heart. And my aim is to increase our nation's good. And I'm doing what I think is right, and I'm proposing what I know will help. I pride myself that I'm a prudent man, and I believe that patience is a virtue, but I understand that politics is, for some, a game, and that sometimes the game is to stop all progress and then decry the lack of improvement. But let me tell you, far more important than my political future and far more important than yours is the well-being of our country. And members of this chamber, members of this chamber are practical people, and I know you won't resent some practical advice. When people put their party's fortunes, whatever the party, whatever side of this aisle, before the public good, they court defeat, not only for their country but for themselves, and they will certainly deserve it. And I submit my plan tomorrow, and I'm asking you to pass it by March 20th. And I ask And I ask the American people to let you know they want this action by March 20th. From the day after that, if it must be, the battle is joined. And you know, when principle is at stake, I relish a good fair fight. And I said my plan has two parts, and it does. And it's the second part that is the heart of the matter. For it's not enough to get an immediate burst. We need long-term improvement in our economic position. We all know that the key to our economic future is to ensure that America continues as the economic leader of the world. We have that in our power. Here, then, is my long-term plan to guarantee our future. First, trade. We will work to break down the walls that stop world trade. We will work to open markets everywhere. And in our major trade negotiations, I will continue pushing to eliminate tariffs and subsidies that damage America's farmers and workers. And we'll get more good American jobs within our own hemisphere through the North American Free Trade Agreement and through the Enterprise for the Americas Initiative. But changes are here, and more are coming. The workplace of the future will demand more highly skilled workers than ever, more people who are computer literate, highly educated. And we must be the world's leader in education, and we must revolutionize America's schools. My America 2000 strategy will help us reach that goal. My plan will give parents more choice, give teachers more flexibility, and help communities create new American schools. 30 states across the nation have established America 2000 programs. Hundreds of cities and towns have joined in. And now, Congress must join this great movement. Pass my proposals for new American schools. That was my second long-term proposal, and here's my third. We must make common sense investments that will help us compete long-term in the marketplace. We must encourage research and development. And my plan is to make the R&D tax credit permanent and to provide record levels of support, over $76 billion this year alone, for people who will explore the promise of emerging technologies. And fourth, we must do something about crime and drugs. And it is time for a major renewed investment in fighting violent street crime. It saps our strength and hurts our faith in our society and in our future together. Surely, a tired woman on her way to work at 6 in the morning on a subway deserves the right to get there safely. And surely it's true that everyone who changes his or her life because of crime, from those afraid to go out at night to those afraid to walk in the parks they pay for, surely these people have been denied a basic civil right. It is time to restore it. Congress, pass my comprehensive crime bill. It is tough on criminals and supportive of police, and it has been languishing in these hallowed halls for years now. Pass it. Help your country. And fifth, I ask you tonight to fund our Hope housing proposal and to pass my enterprise zone legislation, which will get businesses into the inner city. We must empower the poor with the pride that comes from owning a home, getting a job, becoming a part of things. My plan would encourage real estate construction by extending tax incentives for mortgage revenue bonds and low-income housing. And I ask tonight for record expenditures for the program that helps children born into want move into excellence, Head Start. Step 6, we must reform our health care system. For this too bears on whether or not we can compete in the world. American health costs have been exploding. This year, America will spend over $800 billion on health. And that is expected to grow to $1.6 trillion by the end of the decade. We simply cannot afford this. The cost of health care shows up not only in your family budget, but in the price of everything we buy and everything we sell. When health coverage for a fellow on an assembly line costs thousands of dollars, the cost goes into the products he makes, and you pay the bill. We must make a choice. Now, some pretend we can have it both ways. They call it play or pay, but that expensive approach is unstable. It will mean higher taxes, fewer jobs, and eventually a system under complete government control. Really, there are only two options. And we can move toward a nationalized system, which will restrict patient choice, a system which will restrict patient choice in picking a doctor and force the government to ration services arbitrarily. And what we'll get is patients in long lines, indifferent service, and a huge new tax burden. Or we can reform our own private health care system, which still gives us, for all its flaws, the best quality health care in the world. Well, let's build on our strengths. My plan provides insurance security for all Americans while preserving and increasing the idea of choice. We make basic health insurance affordable for all low-income people not now covered, and we do it by providing a health insurance tax credit of up to $3,750 for each low-income family. And the middle class gets help, too. And by reforming the health insurance market, my plan assures that Americans will have access to basic health insurance even if they change jobs or develop serious health problems. We must bring costs under control, preserve quality, preserve choice, and reduce the people's nagging daily worry about health insurance. My plan, the details of which I'll announce very shortly, does just that. And seventh, we must get the federal deficit under control. We now have in law enforceable spending caps and a requirement that we pay for the programs we create. There are those in Congress who would ease that discipline now, but I cannot let them do it, and I won't. My plan would freeze all domestic discretionary budget authority, which means no more next year than this year. And I will not tamper with Social Security, but I would put real caps on the growth of uncontrolled spending. And I would also freeze federal domestic government employment. And with the help of Congress, my plan will get rid of 246 programs that don't deserve federal funding. Some of them have noble titles, but none of them is indispensable. We can get rid of each and every one of them. You know, it's time we rediscovered a home truth the American people have never forgotten. This government is too big and spends too much. And I call upon Congress to adopt a measure that will help put an end to the annual ritual of filling the budget with pork barrel appropriations. Every year, the press has a field day making fun of outrageous examples. Lawrence Welk Museum, research grants for Belgian endive. We all know how these things get into the budget, and maybe you need someone to help you say no. And I know how to say it, and I know what I need to make it stick. Give me the same thing 43 governors have, the line item veto, and let me help you control spending. We must put an end to unfinanced federal government mandates. These are the requirements Congress puts on our cities, counties, and states without supplying the money. And if Congress passes a mandate, it should be forced to pay for it and balance the costs with savings elsewhere. After all, a mandate just increases someone else's burden. And that means higher taxes at the state and local level. Step 8. Congress should enact the bold reform proposals that are still awaiting congressional action. Bank reform, civil justice reform, tort reform, and my national energy strategy. And finally, we must strengthen the family, because it is the family that has the greatest bearing on our future. When Barbara holds an AIDS baby in her arms and reads to children, she's saying to every person in this country, family matters. And I'm announcing tonight a new commission on America's urban families. I've asked Missouri's Governor John Ashcroft to be chairman, former Dallas Mayor Annette Strauss to be co-chair. You know, I had mayors, the leading mayors from the League of Cities in the other day at the White House, and they told me something striking. They said that every one of them, Republican or Democrat, agreed on one thing, that the major cause of the problems of the cities is the dissolution of the family. And they asked for this commission, and they were right to ask, because it's time to determine what we can do to keep families together, strong and sound. And there's one thing we can do right away. Ease the burden of rearing a child. I ask you tonight to raise the personal exemption by $500 per child for every family. For a family with 4 kids, that's an increase of $2,000. And this is a good start in the right direction, and it's what we can afford. It's time to allow families to deduct the interest they pay on student loans. And I'm asking you to do just that, and I'm asking you to allow people to use money from their IRAs to pay medical and education expenses, all without penalties. And I'm asking for more. Ask American parents what they dislike about how things are going in our country, and chances are good that pretty soon they'll get to welfare. Americans are the most generous people on earth. But we have to go back to the insight of Franklin Roosevelt, who, when he spoke of what became the welfare program, warned that it must not become a narcotic and a subtle destroyer of the spirit. Welfare was never meant to be a lifestyle. It was never meant to be a habit. It was never supposed to be passed from generation to generation like a legacy. It's time to replace the assumptions of the welfare state and help reform the welfare system. States throughout the country are beginning to operate with new assumptions. That when able-bodied people receive government assistance, they have responsibilities to the taxpayer, a responsibility to seek work, education, or job training, a responsibility to get their lives in order, a responsibility to hold their families together and refrain from having children out of wedlock, and a responsibility to obey the law. We are going to help this movement. Often, state reform requires waiving certain federal regulations. I will act to make that process easier and quicker for every state that asks for our help. And I want to add, as we make these changes, we work together to improve this system, that our intention is not scapegoating or finger-pointing. If you read the papers or watch TV, you know there's been a rise these days in a certain kind of ugliness, racist comments, anti-Semitism, an increased sense of division. Really, this is not us. This is not who we are. And this is not acceptable. So, you have my plan for America, and I'm asking for big things, but I believe in my heart you'll do what's right. And you know, it's kind of an American tradition to show a certain skepticism toward our democratic institutions. I myself have sometimes thought the aging process could be delayed if it had to make its way through Congress. But you will... You will deliberate and you will discuss, and that is fine. But my friends, the people cannot wait. They need help now. And there's a mood among us. People are worried. There's been talk of decline. Someone even said our workers are lazy and uninspired. And I thought, really? You go tell Neil Armstrong, standing on the moon. Tell the men and women who put him there. Tell the American farmer who feeds his country and the world. Tell the men and women of Desert Storm. Moods come.
Love boat is a Morlock.
It's their job to figure it out.
Deals with the devil are bad. It's our job to stop them.
Fighting evil is a good thing.
Is he always like this?
Watch G vs. E, premiering July 18th on USA.
And maybe for a moment, we forget. We are still and ever the freest nation on earth, the kindest nation on earth, the strongest nation on earth, and we have always risen to the occasion. And we are going to lift this nation out of hard times inch by inch and day by day, and those who would stop us had better step aside, because I look at hard times and I make this vow: this will not stand. And so we move on together, a rising nation, the once and future miracle that is still this night the hope of the world. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless our beloved country. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
forced to fend for themselves.
Scientific.
Two folder options, and is that right?
For me. See, that's right.
Your home is the biggest investment you will ever make, and if you sold...
I was fortunate to have my dad and you know, have him watching out and watching my skills and make sure that they weren't diminishing too much.
Hey, John, when you think about you, John Elway, the competitor, the one snapshot I think that comes to a lot of people's minds, of course, is that 3rd and 6 from the 12-yard line in your first Super Bowl.
Gives you full fluoride and tartar protection, too. That's quite a difference. Aqua Fresh Whitening gets teeth stronger, brighter, and tri-clean whiter.
My best advice is don't wait until it's too late.
Of the ankle? I'm finishing out my 8 hours and then I'm going home.
It's only 4:30.
Well, I'm counting time to get to my car. Why made you change your mind? You guys were right. I don't deserve to be here. The fact is, I was hired off someone else's work.
Actually, you weren't.
What are you talking about?
I found your real portfolio.
Hey, cool. I don't feel right about this deal we've worked out.
Since when does feeling right have anything to do with business?
Well, my father has always taught me that...